Hello.
Oh, no, now I think I can. Can you hear me? I need to put up,
Hello.
I want to unrecord this. Okay, everybody. Sorry about that. Still trying to be a better Zoomer than I am. Welcome. I'm calling the meeting to order. I'm seeing a quorum present. I don't see Claudette. If someone could text her and see if she's on her way. Didn't hear that she wasn't coming. But seeing Marilyn Slatnick, Terry Hewitt, Mitchell Bear, and myself, I believe we can call the meeting to order and adopt the agenda without objection. Does anyone have objection to the current agenda as written? Okay, so I'm going to adopt the agenda. Moving on to the approval of, sorry, Terry?
The only thing should I make my statement now or wait about what's on the agenda, that one item?
Oh, if you want to change how we're going to approach that, then yeah, I think that would be an amendment to the agenda at the moment, if you'd like to do that. And David Langsman's on the phone, on the call, so.
Oh, I didn't hear that last part. My apologies. About on the phone, I didn't hear that part.
Oh, sorry, no, I think Dave Landsman is here, so.
Oh. Hey, Dave. I would. I would request to amend it, and then I can give the reason for it, if
Okay.
you'd like.
So Terry's requesting to amend part 7 of our agenda as written this evening, which was an action item on 3007 Albemarle on 3100 Appleton. And I believe, Terry, what you're asking to do is to change it from a voting to a non-voting item because it was previously voted upon by the ANC.
Concur. Exactly.
Okay, is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on, thank you so much. The minutes, without objection, I'd like to approve the minutes, move to approve the minutes from their February 20th meeting.
I second that.
Okay. Moving on to our regular agenda. Let's start with, let's go alphabetical order. Mitch Bear.
I don't have any commissioners report for this evening. A few of the things that I was going to discuss, we'll have to wait until April.
Okay. Terry.
Commissioner items, we had a small but successful housing committee meeting today, and I can report on that later in the agenda. Otherwise, nothing further to report at this time.
Marilyn?
I had the pleasure of attending the investiture of the UDC President Eddington, which was a delightful affair and very impressive. And I also attended the virtual meeting of the 3F web ed group of all the schools that are within 3F and they were discussing how the budget was going to affect all the schools.
Oh, interesting. Is there anything that March families, Jackson Reed families should act on?
At this particular point, there are going to be cuts from anywhere from 6 to 8 personnel. And also, apparently, there are questions as how the disadvantaged students are going to be faring under these cuts. But then I hear something about that it's all political. If people make big noises, money gets moved from one pot to the other. It was very enlightening.
Thank you for that report. I know my son attends school without walls, and I think they're thinking they're going to lose two teachers as well. I'm going to move to the regular agenda. Paul Harrison, are you here?
Oh, wait,
Oh,
I
sorry.
have an update. I'm
Oh,
on.
sorry, I didn't know you joined.
Yeah, I'm here. Commissioner Claudette David here, ANC3F 04. So I'm gonna do a virtual meeting for 3F 04 constituents in April. So just anyone in 3F 04, look out for that on my social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, and I'll post in Next Door Neighbor as well. Also, update on the website. I've been in touch with the folks who helped us out on that, and in touch with the Office of the of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions as well. So I'm working with them to just the data that they already worked on and just have that activated so we can all see that. But the another good news is the Office of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission is actually starting next year. They will actually centralize the hosting site for all of the ANC websites. So this will not happen again. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know Kent was working on that. That's great. Do they have a date when they are trying to go live with that?
They just said sometime next
They're
year.
working on it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a Kent great innovation. Okay, thank you. Streets and sidewalks, Paul.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. Do you mind if I share screen?
Please, can you do it or do you need me?
I think I can do it.
Great.
Ta-da. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Paul Harrison. I'm Chair of the Streets and Sidewalks Committee. I'm a unelected volunteer, so we're always looking for more unelected volunteers to join our committee. We'll drop my email in the chat before the end of the presentation. So update for this month is we had various engagement efforts, email, in person, and by Zoom. We did meet out at 36th and Reno, where DDOT has proposed closing the section of street that serves as a slip lane after a number of community members raised some questions about that project at the last ANC meeting. We also I have some updates to share on sidewalk construction, which has been the purpose of Streets and Sidewalks since the beginning, to bridge our numerous sidewalk gaps in Forest Hills and North Cleveland Park, Wakefield. I'll also share some of the feedback that we sent to DDOT. And some folks may have noticed there are new speed humps on Alton Place. So as always, if you see in your corner that you think it's dangerous to cross, people are speeding, or there are other traffic safety issues, I encourage you to go on DC's 311 site and mention that to them, and they will start what's called a TSI, traffic safety investigation of that. And that's how things like speed humps happen. So sidewalk update. So as I mentioned, we have a lot of sidewalk gaps in the community. DDOT has just started putting up a GIS that allows you to look all over the city to see where the sidewalk gaps are. There are way too many of them, and where they stand in the progress of getting them completed. They are substantially increasing the number of sidewalks they plan to be improving in the next year, and have doubled their budget. Within our community, there are a couple projects planned. I've mentioned the plan to put a sidewalk along the south side of Albemarle Street between Connecticut and 29th. Albemarle is our heaviest traffic street after Connecticut and Reno, obviously, and Nebraska, et cetera, the big ones. So I know folks are talking about that in the community, and they've gotten notice from the city about that and ability to give comments on it. Thanks to Commissioner Carlson and to Marlene Berlin and some other folks who have been fighting for a long time to get the sidewalk gap on Fessenden bridged. That project is now scheduled for this year. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner, that big section there will get sidewalks. And folks, again, DDOT will reach out to folks about that. And lastly, there's conversation going on about the section of Alton that goes between 36th and Reno. That's an active conversation with Sheridan and some of the neighbors. And also we have neighbors down on 35th who are concerned that they have no sidewalk there, whereas Alton does have a sidewalk on one side of the street. So that conversation will no doubt continue. Here's another quick look at the Fessenden intersection. This is obviously not fully designed yet. So, they're also they're going to regularize some of these intersections in what we call the bow tie there to put some stormwater retention in, but that will also make these more angular turns, which is better for slowing cars when people are crossing. Questions about that, please reach out to me or Commissioner Carlson. Okay, so the slip lane, 36th Street right now, when you come north on Reno, you can turn at a light angle onto 36th Street, and that leads to cars coming kind of quickly through the neighborhood. So back in 2017, ANC3F passed a resolution asking DDOT to close that section of the street to traffic, so the cars would have to turn right on Warren Street and then left on 36, which will slow down and calm the traffic. Folks had some issues. We met out there to listen to them. One of those was that there's really no, Warren does have stop signs on either side, but obviously Reno doesn't have to stop. And that raises issues of, because this is a very tight turning radius, people may slow too much, that may cause either backups or crashes. It's also because there's a wall up here on the right, so the north side of it, there's some sight distance issues there. And then, of course, there's just the general problem to cross Reno as a pedestrian. Also, as a motorist, it's very difficult to cross that street because people are going fast and there's no stop signs or traffic lights for a long section. There's also questions about what the space that is closed off what they're going to do with it. Are they going to turn it into park, or what are they going to do with it? So we need to hear back from DDOT on that. And lastly, of course, this question of, is this the top priority for DDOT? Particularly from folks who are concerned about the lack of a sidewalk on 35th Street. We did talk about the fact that those are different budgets and different timescales, but the 35th Street sidewalk and some of our other sidewalk gaps remain a priority for the community. So everybody's been in communication with DDOT through their process, including us, and we did ask them specifically to do a traffic safety investigation at the corner of Warren and Reno to see if perhaps making that a four-way stop, doing a raised crosswalk, or other safety interventions there would solve some of the issues the community had mentioned. And that's just a quick look at that intersection. So you can see, we did watch, young kids trying to cross this street with their older siblings and having to wave down folks who fail to yield at the crosswalk. So it is an issue. And lastly, our next meetings will be on April 9th and 10th. Tentatively, we've got a number of folks who really want to get into this question of how we can do something interim on Broad Branch so that it's easier to walk, or possible to walk, into Rock Creek Park from our community. And we are also gathering comments and thoughts on how DDOT can improve its sidewalk gap prioritization system. So again, I'll put my email in the chat. Email me anytime if you want to add an email list or contribute to the committee. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And from the Fessenden sidewalk, as a Fessenden and 32nd Street neighbor myself, we've actually already gotten the letter informing us of the sidewalk. So it seems like it's really happening. Schools and universities, Maryland.
It looked like we had a question from Marjorie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't. Oh, sorry, Marjorie.
Oh, that's all right. Thank you. I didn't know if it was appropriate at this time. Two things. One is, Paul, thank you so much for the work that you and your committee are doing. It's already made such an incredible difference in our neighborhood. I live on Albemarle, as you know, and it's just made a tremendous difference. So thank you to all of you. It's tremendous. Second question, second comment is, what is the difference between a speed hump and a bump? Because I see the signs are different and it seems that the heights are different. So what is the criteria used to decide which streets get what?
So the general difference between well, there's the kinds of speed bumps that you have in a grocery store parking lot. They don't put those on public streets, obviously, the little narrow ones. They do so for example, the one that they installed at 32nd and Albemarle that they put the crosswalk on, the raised crosswalk, is called a speed table. And so that goes up, it's flat, and then it goes down. Whereas a speed hump is generally more round in general. These are all designed by the traffic engineers with reference to the design speed of the street, its classification, and other issues. So they design the height based on how fast they want the cars actually to be going. Is it 15, 20, 25, 30? So that's why they look different, because they're actually designed based on what the engineers think the appropriate speed for that street is, which is a separate issue. So for example, Albemarle Street is a collector street, and that's a classification. That's why Albemarle has not been dropped to 20 miles an hour as a speed limit, whereas Brandywine, which is not considered a collector, even though they sort of act as a pair, is at 20. So the design speed matters as to how they design them. Does that
All
answer
right.
your question, Marjorie?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks. Does anybody else have a question? And I will just share Marjorie's thanks to you. That was a really comprehensive presentation, and I mean, we've spent a lot of time, streets and sidewalks, lately on this, but that was really helpful to have all that information. Thank you so much.
Thanks to everybody who participates. We really appreciate it. Please join our committee.
It's the funnest committee there is, really.
Go for walks. It's nice.
Other than maybe Maryland's committee, schools and universities. What do you got, Marilyn?
Well,
us on.
what I would say is I have reached out to all the people that Jim Tanderick had said were on that committee. And it seems as though two things are going to be coming up. One is apparently Howard University's West Campus, which is where the law school is and the divinity is on Upton. They're going to be having a new 5-year strategic plan, and people are very nervous because there are scores of surveyors out on the property that is below the old library that's closed and Upton Street. So we're on it, but we don't know anything at this point. The other thing is that Sheridan School will be wanting to have both the Sidewalks and Streets Committee, as well as the Schools and Universities Committee, come meet with them once they have the Department of Transportation's new requirements for their building plan. So that's just on the horizon. That's it.
Thank you. Suzanne actually, I think her last name is Weathered. She was from Sheridan. She was at oh, I'm sorry, what's her last name?
Bordeaux.
I don't know where I got something
Yeah,
else. Sorry about that. Thank you. She's at Sheridan, and she participated in the walkthrough about the slip lanes and has been very engaged with us. So
right.
Thank you. Parks and watersheds, Mitch.
The only thing to report is that DOEE is in the process of putting together a plan to deal with the Linian outfall that has that runs into Soapstone Valley. We're going to see something from them probably within the next month, and I was going to report on it this evening, but I don't have any further information other than they're going to start work on engineering and planning for it later this year, and sometime next year they'll actually start construction. I will be coordinating with the people there at that cul-de-sac on Linian where they're going to have equipment for this particular project. That's it from here.
Thanks. There's actually I think I might have it in my notes and I might be able to put it in the chat. There's a website that I think they already have up. I can put that in the chat if I can manage that.
Right. They do.
Multitasking. I just had it in my meeting notes. And Claude, I'm sorry, excuse me, Terry, housing.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Let's see. So with housing today, we had our housing committee meeting. There are several areas that I'll start to tackle, and we will as a group, and I'll report out on. There is an indication of some sort of encampment, so that's really the priority first. That drives what goes next based on the mayor's office. So there isn't someone who's physically that we can tell inhabiting, but there is evidence that there's something. So that's first. I'll ask MPD to come in, and then from there we can start looking at. Simultaneously, we'll look at the overgrowth that's on that slope where Brandywine is. And of course, there's garbage, there's litter. I believe that that's stemming from the encampment, so we need to figure that out before we can even look at trash cans, because once we know what's going on, then we know what to do second, third, and fourth. Let's see. So, and also, I plan to implement street sweeping. I discovered recently that it's initiated through ANC, so I am working through that process now, and then clean sweeps. Clean streets initiative. And I can give you more detail if you'd like. That's what I have right now for housing.
Great, thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you.
So moving on to our regular agenda, we'll start with Emmanuel Briggs, DC Water. Or whoever's here to represent DC Water.
Hey, good evening.
I'm sorry, Jarrell. I did this to you last time too. I know it's you. I'm sorry.
No problem. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen.
Thank you.
All right. Here we are. Good evening, everyone. Name's Jarrell Johnson with DC Water. We'll be providing a brief update on the Soapstone Valley Park project. There are a few slides I'm going to skip and just get into the main, kind of the main construction update there. Basically, here's a quick look at a status update. Construction hours remain the same from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Current status, this week we began stream restoration at Site 4. We're continuing with some of the manhole rehabilitation work. And crews have been replacing manhole covers and frames. The following week, the activities are very similar. We'll be continuing the stream restoration work at Site 4, continuing to work on the manholes and replacing those manhole covers and frames. Site restoration is on the horizon. We're going to begin with the planting. Instead of the live stakes that we showed last month, the live stakes, they'll be replaced with tree tubulings. That's our plan now. We're awaiting NPS approval. That'll just give the young trees and plants a kind of better chance of survival there. And then we will have some staging areas we'll share in the future for that planting process. The planting schedule right now is looking like May 2024. So when we start that work, you guys will be aware as well. And then for the final roadway restoration work along Audubon Terrace, we plan on performing that operation in May as well. Outside of that, we remain committed to attending these meetings and providing an update. We are putting some dates together for a overall public meeting, and we'll be sharing that date and information once we kind of have everything settled. Outside of that, I'll open it up for any questions or concerns. And just one reminder, if there's anyone on the call who's not, who would like to receive project updates, feel free just to email adme to soapstone.info@dcwater.com, and we'll make sure you're on the list. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Mitch,
Jarrell, can you give us an estimate of when the final 3 shots will be conducted? 1, and 2, when is the work going to be done to take out the bridges and roadways and other trash, I call it, cuttings from trees and that now are piled up in the valley area?
Okay, I think,
Hey, Jura, I
go
got
ahead.
it. I got it. Commissioner Meade, for the first question, for the 3 shots, we just got the approval from DOEE today that we can move forward with UV. That's one. So now we can order the liners. The liners coming from Germany, since we are using non-steering line. So we will provide you as soon as we know when the materials get to US. So we just got the approval today, and we're gonna move forward. So we got to go ahead to do it. So that's it for the schedule. Once we know when the liner is gonna be in the US, then the contractor is gonna put a schedule together for the 3 shots. Then regarding the trees, National Park Service specifically asked us not to throw those trees. They're gonna chip it, and they want to use it for the trail inside 2, 3, 4, and 5. We actually met with them last week, and we're meeting again next Wednesday. So we're not throwing them away. We're gonna chip them and use them as a mulch on the trail.
Okay, when are you taking out the bridges?
The bridges, it's gonna be like a, it's gonna be like a dance. When we IPR hasn't finished yet, but the way the sequence that is gonna work is, as soon as they remove the tree, they remove the bridges and the mat. That's when the Empire comes in and plant their trees. So we're not there yet, but it's gonna be somewhere around May when the trees actually start, when we actually start planting those trees.
Okay, and when is the trail going to be brought back to its prior condition?
Once all the trees are planted and vegetables, when everything is done. That's after everything is done.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Marjorie?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Jarrell, for that. At the last meeting, I asked the question about the methylene chloride, and Stephen Orr said he was going to look into it, which he did. He responded to Commissioner Carlson on it. One question I had, though, in that regard, was it an immediate grab sample, or are they samples over a period of time?
Marjorie, this period, we've been advised by legal, anything concerning the samples need to go through Stephen Hours. That's an agreement between DC Water and the DOEE. We are not supposed to answer any question concerning that anymore. Everything goes through Stevens.
Everything goes through what? I'm sorry?
Stephen Hours with DOEE. So any question you have about that, you need to go.
So, but do you know the answer to my question, though?
Well, we don't have our experts here. Akon is our expert. So legal said we shouldn't answer those questions anymore.
Only DOEE can answer the questions. DC Water can no longer be the source of information on that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, okay. I will ask him. And the second thing I've noticed over time, that when things change on the DC Water website, there's links to lab testing and those get broken. You know, you receive, one receives an error message, and that 54-page report that was posted is now missing, and the video from, you know, there are things that sort of disappear and then new things come in. Who keeps up the website, the Soapstone page?
Emmanuel does. I will let Emmanuel know.
You manage it?
No, Emmanuel Briggs.
Okay. Well, I'll follow through with him then, asking those questions.
I know the last time.
I'm sorry. I wasn't able to unmute myself. Mr.
Okay.
Manuel. So to your question, Marjorie, so what's supposed to happen, and we have recently revamped our website, everything is supposed to transfer over automatically. I know that does not happen because no system is perfect, but I know that each department that has information works hand in hand with IT on every page, every link, every document to see what needs to be scrapped and what actually transfers to the new site. So I know the intention is that everything transfers over automatically, maybe located kind of differently, navigating different with a new page, but it should be up. But if there are things that are not there, if you can send me an email with with those things, we'll take a look at the page overall. But it sounds like quite a few things that you just mentioned that are not there or links are broken, and we can revive those.
Very good. Okay, very good. And, reports that are important to have up there are just now missing, that type of thing. So I will send you a list. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to you, and thank you, Marjorie, for staying on top of this for us as well. Okay, moving on. We have Brad King from DGS, who's going to, from now on until some time in the future, as construction goes, will be giving us an update on the DC Archives project at UDC. And so I put you up there in the spotlight so everyone can see you. Welcome, and thank you very much for coming to report.
Thank you for having me. As you stated, my name is Brad King. I'm a contract project manager for working with DGS on our DC Archives building, and hopefully everyone is aware of the project that the Office of Public Records is looking to build a new archival facility on part of UDC's campus, taking over part of a site on building 41 on Van Ness Street. And we're in the design phase of that project now. We just completed our design development phase for the project. So we're moving forward very quickly. One update from our design development, we were able to evaluate the building's performance more in depth based on this developed information, from the facade systems to roofing systems and wall systems, to really evaluate the building's energy performance. And we're now looking to finalize our design and implementing electric boilers in the building, and therefore getting rid of our natural gas service to the building. So it was a great element that sort of came out through a natural progress in the design of the building, and something we're looking to implement as we move forward. Just recently, we awarded the construction management services to Gilbane Construction. They're now looking in depth at a detailed project schedule. Where we are currently at is where UDC is moving out of the building. They still have some books and materials in the building. Currently, they're constructing a new library space that they're cataloging and moving these books out of the building into the new space, as well as the jazz archives. They're being packed up by UDC now, and we have a contract with OPR to actually handle the move of those archival jazz archives. Part of the archives will be stored in DC's archival storage, and part will remain on UDC's campus so that they're accessible by the public. I don't have the details on what portion is being maintained public, but all that is being handled by UDC. So I'm sure they can give you a great update on the Jazz archives and what's available and what's not. Once the move is complete, we're looking sort of mid-April to have the move complete, and that starts a 30-day vacancy notification process for Gilbane. During this time, they'll be mobilizing on site, so that we hope to start our first phase of construction sometime in mid to end of May. And that will be what we're calling our interior demolition, which is non-structural. It includes abatement of any hazardous materials and removal of non-structural materials on the inside of the building. Process is about 2 to 3 months, so that'll take us through summer. We're looking towards the end of summer to complete that. And then we move into the next phase of the building, which will be some structural demolition we're calling selective demolition. All that will adhere to DOE's regulations, which are in place to protect the adjacent community and adhere to those standards. So fully run smoothly. And we're here now, and we'll continue to give these updates to the ANC as well as UDC's task force meetings to continually keep a public forum open, as well as Gilbane's looking to publish a community website, a project website, just to give more frequent updates on current and near future activities, as well as provide any feedback from the community as needed. We're in the process of finalizing that website with OPR, and we look to have that up and running before the start of construction. And I will definitely provide a link to the website to the ANC as well as UDC's task force as soon as it's up and running. And in the meantime, we'll look forward to continuing these updates and keeping an open forum, and hopefully throughout construction and the life of the project.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate you being here. And I just to highlight a comment in the chat, there's a reference to an article in the Forest Hills Connections by Julia Stevenson about the environmental impact of the project. And I know I sent that to you earlier in the day. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, and there's been no public information on sort of our progress through the design process. I know that's part of our ongoing investigations as we develop the building and really start to dive into its systems and how it works, which is part of the process we're in now, design development. So I know that that information isn't public and on the website, DGS's website. It will be part of our DGS sustainability exemption hearing upcoming for the project from the Green Building Act. We are asking for a couple exemptions. None of them are related to fossil fuel or net zero. They're related to the amount of PV we're able to get on the site and what we can and cannot buy as green building credits.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
There's another chat. I think I answered that, just answered that question.
But you can raise your hand. That's
Oh, I see. Okay, Mary Beth, you're
yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I would like you to speak to the violation of the DC Green Government Buildings Act, which the new design would violate it. And there was a big meeting on Friday of DOEE and other environmental groups also who are very concerned about that. And so there's no guarantee that the new building will be built because of the way that it violates the requirement that it not run on fossil fuels and be net zero. And I mean, I'm surprised that you didn't mention that in your presentation. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I think I mentioned it twice. In the very beginning, we are running to development to remove the gas boilers, fossil fuels from the building. We're able to rerun our energy model, and in doing that with the new development of the facades and insulation values and things that we didn't have previously through the design development process, we were able to lower the energy consumption of the building and therefore reduce the electrical loads. And that led us to the ability to switch to electric boilers. So we're in the process of evaluating that and finalizing that in our design process. We are in the process of also going through the exemption process for the Green Building Act. All of the asks that we're going through in that so far, it is not related to net zero or fossil fuels. It's related to renewable energy, the amount of PVs we're able to provide on site, as well as our ability to buy green energy credits.
So just to clarify, you are saying now that the new design is in compliance with the Green Government Buildings Act? This is a first.
We're looking to finalize our exemptions application, and we'll have a full report on that.
I'm not talking about exemptions. You're saying you won't need exemptions as far as the Green Government Building.
We do need exemptions.
Oh, you need an exemption
related to renewable energies and green and the buying of energy credits.
Oh, I see. Well, according to the meeting that was held last week with the director of the DOEE, their lawyer, their entire staff, the Sierra Club, other environmental groups, there's quite a bit of leaning against DC giving exemptions for such a thing, considering the climate crisis and considering what we're dealing with as far as greenhouse gas emissions in our society right now. They didn't seem too eager to be giving out a lot of exemptions, but you seem to be thinking you will get one.
Okay.
Well, we are going to have a hearing on that. It is part of DGS Sustainability's process on the Green Building Act. We are filing for that right now this week. And they will announce a special hearing just for the archives building, and everybody is welcome to voice their concerns during that time.
Thanks, Brad. We really appreciate your being here. You're going to continue to be here and continue to answer questions from the community as this process goes on. So thank you very much. And we're going to move on now to Project Pipes. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next month. And we will continue to have, I'm sure, lots of questions.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for looking at that, the piece in the Forest Hills connection and being able to speak to it. Thanks a lot for that.
Excuse me, I think Ann Tobias had a question.
I'm gonna chair the meeting and we're running out of time, and Ann Tobias is gonna speak. I think she has some time in the next item. So I think she can speak to in our next bit. So I'm gonna turn it over to Commissioner Slatnick to introduce Project Pipes and the Office of People's Counsel.
We have Lawrence Daniels, the chief litigator for the Project Pipes, or Director of Litigation Services. Let me get that right, sir. And he's going to speak with us regarding the Project Pipes, which is Washington Gas Light's apparently 40-year plan, but I was also speaking regarding the petition to investigate Washington Gas Light's infrastructure. And I would like to note, if anybody wonders what the Office of People's Counsel does, Mr. Daniels has his very own YouTube presentation video, and it's wonderful. Right. Do go ahead, sir.
Okay. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Slatnick, for that introduction, and thank you for inviting OPC to this meeting tonight to talk about two very important topics. You mentioned them. They are Project Pipes and also the People's Council's petition to investigate Washington Gas's infrastructure. I'm going to share my screen to go over some of the slides. Again, minutes. We're going to cover both of those, the project pipes and the investigation. Starting with project pipes. For those who don't know, project pipes was approved about 10 years ago by the commission with the goal to improve safety, reliability, reduce methane emissions by prioritizing the replacement of Washington Gas's most leak-prone pipes in its infrastructure. And secondly, the thing you have to realize about project pipes is that it is a supplement to the company's normal leak management process. At times, people believe this is project pipes. Project pipe is the only way that Washington Gas reduces leaks in the system. It is not. This is just the, I guess, the express way that the commission has provided to allow them to do it more quickly and get cost recovery. But as I go into some of the details about project pipes, you'll understand it a little better and some of the issues that we've had with project pipes. I'll start with some of the issues. As I said, this project started about 10 years ago. And in that time, they have failed miserably to replace the projected amount of pipes that they said that they would through each phase. We are now entering project pipes phase 3. 1 and 2 are now complete. Well, 2 has an extension. But in those years, they have not reduced anywhere near the amount of pipes that they said they would. There have been a number of cost overruns due to a couple of unapproved projects and some use of technology that they were not allowed to use. And I don't believe they've been allowed to get recovery for some of those projects, but there have been some unapproved cost overruns. And the company, we just found out, has been using an outdated leak probability system. The Project Pipes 3, which is proposed and most likely not to be approved, was based on one probability system that allows Washington Gas to understand where the most leak-prone pipes are. But they were going to use another type of technology to actually go forth and implement reducing those leaks. So we were very concerned about that inconsistency because both of those programs are very different. And we raised those concerns in our filing on June 23rd in formal case 1175. And I can send you that pleading by OPC. So you can understand in detail each one of these 3 primary issues that we have with project pipes. But just for saving time, I'll send you the pleading. Most recently, Commission decided to extend project pipes for 1 more year as opposed to 5 more years at a cost of $50 million. Now, this concerns the office for a number of reasons. One, we raised a number of valid concerns along with DOEE and the Apartment and Office Building Association raised a number of concerns about project pipes. In addition to our concerns, the Council of the District of Columbia, prior to this decision being issued, said to the commission that project pipes is inconsistent with the climate agenda that the city has laid out. We thought that would be enough for the commission to say we're going to drop project pipes, but instead what they decided to do was to say we'll only allow it to go for 1 more year because of public safety. We want to make sure that the riskiest pipes are still being removed, but we'll only do it for 1 more year. And in that time frame, what we'll do is to start to revamp project pipes. So that's where we are right now with project pipes. We don't necessarily agree with that decision. I understand it, but we're waiting on the next step to determine how the commission is going to go about revamping project pipes. But our position in that revamping is that it should not continue any further than the 1 year that was approved late last month. Moving on now to our petition to investigate Washington Gas's infrastructure, and I should stress petitions. Back when the merger of Washington Gas and AltaGas was approved, they outlined a number of commitments that had to be met. One of those commitments was that Washington Gas had to reduce grade 2 leaks. These are not the priority leaks, but the leaks right under grade 1 leaks that had to be reduced each year for the next 5 years. Well, we found in the first 2 years that Washington Gas failed to meet those leak reduction numbers by a pretty wide margin. So what we did in April of 2021 was to file our first petition telling the commission that we were very concerned about the fact that they had failed to do this after they had said that they had superior technology and that the merger, the power of this merger would allow them to reduce the leaks that had been a major pain for Washington Gas and for the city. And we were concerned that this was not happening. And we asked the commission to have opened up a comprehensive investigation of Washington Gas's infrastructure to find out why they weren't able to do this in those first 2 years. The commission denied us, and they said that what they wanted to do was hold it in abeyance, a decision in abeyance, to allow the stakeholders to discuss the concerns that we had. We had several meetings, but there was no consensus on the commission. The commission reached no consensus on actually opening up a comprehensive investigation. So the next year rolled around and they failed again for the third straight year to reduce grade 2 leaks as they were supposed to. And instead, they wrote a check to the commission as they were required if they would have failed to meet the leak reduction requirements for grade 2 leaks. So we filed another petition for an investigation, again, noting the fact all the concerns that we had in the first year were now compounded by the third straight year of their failure to do so, and that it was imperative that they actually started an investigation as soon as possible. The commission moved a little closer to us this time. They said they understood our arguments and that they had concerns as well, but they were looking at leaks in different proceedings, but that they would open an investigation if warranted by circumstances. Well, that circumstances came about when what I mentioned, the council releasing a letter saying that they felt that Project Pipes was no longer consistent with the future of the city's climate agenda. So we filed a third petition last month, February 13th, and with a twofold basis. One was the council's letter, and secondly, the fact that the most disturbing point to me was that grade 1 leaks, these are the most dangerous leaks. One, they emit the most greenhouse gas emissions, but also they are a huge safety risk. These are the ones that can cause mass explosions and a lot of property damage and potentially could be deadly. So we filed again the third petition about a month ago from today, and the commission has yet to rule on it, but they have hinted that they will actually open this investigation, and a decision should be coming within the next month at one of the April open meetings that the commission holds. So what are the next steps for Project Pipes and our investigation? And this is speculation on my part. I've been here 25 years. I've been doing this for a while. And based upon what I think a reasonable commission would do, I think for Project Pipes, they're going to replace it with a program that focuses solely on the reduction of grade 1 and grade 2 leaks that pose the greatest safety risk. That was the reason why they extended Project Pipes 2 by 1 year. But I think they'll do it, but they won't be doing it for 3 or 5 year extensions. They'll probably do it a year at a time. And in each point of those years, and there'll be closer oversight of this new program, specifically looking at the replacement of pipes. Are you actually reducing the amount of pipes that you said you could with the technology that you're using? And these oversight checkpoints, I think, will likely be quarterly. This is certainly what we're going to ask for as the Office of the People's Counsel, because it's obvious that Washington Gas needs an adult in the room. If for 10 years, if you can't do the most basic thing that a gas company can do, and that's keep the gas in the pipes, I think that's a huge problem. It's a huge problem not only for safety, but also for all the climate goals that the city has. A lot of work is going on to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and to have open leaks all throughout the city in all 8 wards is certainly problematic to us. What are the next steps for our investigation? I think it's going to include Project Pipes, a close, hard look at Project Pipes. There'll be multiple stakeholders involved to identify goals and objectives. Certainly, ANC3F and other ANCs certainly could pass a resolution or come and speak or file a pleading before the Public Service Commission to let your goals and objectives be known. I think there will be a focus on methodologies and technologies used to identify and prioritize leaks. And I think there'll also be a public index that will detail the location of the leaks and the remediation process. Specifically, they'll let you know how many leaks are in your particular ward and what's the timeline to have those leaks remediated. And lastly, I think there will be a method established to measure the climate impact of leaks. We don't have that yet, but I think that's going to be an important measure going forward as the city begins to define electrification and actually implement electrification. I think along the way, we need to know how are climate greenhouse gas emissions being reduced by Washington Gas as we go forward. So that's it for both of them. I know it's a lot of information for a small amount of time, but myself and my colleague Ade Adeyane, who is a new attorney with the Office of the People's Counsel, we're here to answer any questions you may have, and if we can't now, we will certainly provide the ANC with an answer in writing.
Thank you so much. Is this presentation available? Can if people want to sort of reflect on it, I tried to take notes, but I don't.
Sure. I'll send it to you. Yeah,
That would
I'll
be
send it
great.
to Ms. Slatnick. I'll send it to Ms. Slatnick right
Thank
after
you
we
so much. So if
finish.
anybody wants that,
Sure.
you can talk to Commissioner Slatnick. Commissioner David, question.
Yes, thank you for that presentation. Can you remind us of any of the dates for any upcoming hearings, any upcoming public forums?
None have been announced yet, but again, next month, we anticipate that the commission is going to approve our petition, and a part of that will be an opportunity for the public to speak. Once those dates are noted, we'll pass that along to all ANCs and all our key community contacts.
So there's no upcoming okay. But so I guess the question now is, will there be any upcoming hearings?
There will be some hearings coming up on this issue of gas leaks, and also for Project Pipes. One thing you can do is actually write the commission and request them. It's one thing for OPC to request something, but once actual residents begin, especially as a group, as an ANC, begin to demand public hearings on any issue, and these two issues are definitely important: Project Pipes and the petition to investigate them. You can do that at any time, and we can send you the form. I'll send the formal case numbers to Ms. Slatnick, where you can address your request to have hearings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anne.
Yes.
Anne, I think you're on mute.
I think she's muted.
Anne,
I can't hear.
I can't hear either.
I can't see her either.
Yeah.
Let me cut my video off.
And we see your hand, but we can't hear you. Can you try and unmute your computer? I know that
Okay.
she's very well versed in this, and so I know we want to hear what she has to say, but we're going to give you a second, and then we need to move on.
Okay. Well, one thing I would say is that in terms of the investigation, I know some people have asked, do you think that the commission will do can hold a open and transparent investigation on Washington Gas's infrastructure? I believe they can. I do believe they can. One way they may do that is to actually have an independent auditor conduct this investigation, and to walk through each stage of the process from beginning to end, from the taking in of information concerning these issues, and also actually conducting the hearings before the Public Service Commission. So yeah, I do believe they can do that.
Anne, I want to give you another shot here. Could you try and unmute yourself?
Anne sent a chat message. Anne said that she's not able to unmute. Will
write her question in the chat?
She said she's going to try and sign out and sign back in.
Okay. Because we're going to have to move on, but I know
I
we want to hear from her as well, because I think she's very well versed on this issue.
Okay.
Oh, too long to type.
I really appreciate your coming, Mr. Daniels, and you'll be hearing from all of us.
Oh, I look forward to it. Actually, we definitely want your participation, and we definitely want the public to be involved. So you have our names on the screen, and again, I'll send this whole presentation, including our contact information, to you, and you can ask us any questions that you have. And again, we're going to keep in touch with you about how to participate going further.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on. We have Ann coming
Oh, we
back
have
in.
Ann.
Ann,
Okay.
can you unmute yourself? And I'm so sorry. I see you. I'm trying to unmute you as a host, but I can't. I'm so sorry. And we'd be happy to have you, ask a question or speak to this at a future meeting. I'm really, really sorry, for the technical issues. I can't figure out how to, I mean, you're just muted and there's nothing the host can do about it. I'm sorry. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Slotnick, for making sure this was on the agenda.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
moving on, everybody, to MPD. Is Lieutenant Olivier on the call?
This is Lieutenant Vandermeer. I'm on the
sorry.
call.
Hi, Lieutenant Vandermeer. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you. What I thought I would do is just go over some updates that we've had since last month, and then answer some questions that anyone may have. So we had one robbery in 3F. Now some of these, just a note on the data that I'm going to share. You know, we carve up all of our numbers by patrol service area, and so there's not always perfect overlap. But I think that they generally approximate what we're looking at. If there's reason to think it overstates or understates what's happening in 3F, of course I'll call that out. But we had one robbery that occurred 3600 block of Fessenden since last month. Obviously that's one too many, and not to make light of anything that happened with our victim there, but what happened was the headphones were snatched off of the victim's head. That's the second such robbery. We call that robbery snatch in the DC code language. It's got to be scary, and you never want your body to be violated that way. So I'm sure it's cold comfort for the victim, but for others it's nice to know, I think, that there was no one was harmed, there were no weapons involved. So that's our one robbery, and so that's our one, as we call them, violent crimes, which just in the way that we categorize things: robberies, burglaries, arson, sexual abuse, homicide, assaults where people are seriously injured, where weapons are involved, etc. That's the update on the robbery. Good news for us: theft from autos remain down. They're down 72% from 2023, the same period in 2023. Of course, as the weather gets better, we expect that's going to be a problem. We should continue to be vigilant about it. What we're encouraging everyone to do is just be very mindful about what you leave in your car. If you leave your car, ensure that your car is locked. Just to be careful about the way that you secure your property in your vehicle. Likewise, this is not the good story. The bad news is that our thefts our reported thefts are up. This is driven mostly by retail thefts, but package thefts are an issue as well. We're seeing, what we've done is, especially for people who don't have a mail room or something like that, we have a Amazon locker in front of the 2D station at 3320 Idaho. People are free to use those lockers for packages if they feel like their property is not going to be secure. We've worked with property management about improving some of the security, not only for package thefts in mail rooms and other facilities, but also in terms of improving the way that they secure the property against people who are unwelcome. So we've really tried to focus on helping them to understand the importance of barring notices, of filling the barring notices out properly, to ensure that we can make a a lawful arrest of someone if they've been barred and they return to the property. So that's very important. We've had conversations about it, and yet this morning we had a barred person. Concierge called, let us know there was a barred person. I sent the units over there. They were canvassing. The person had left the property. Officers were able to find them on the street, stop them. We went and got the concierge, brought the concierge to the person, positively identified them, and concierge could not find the actual barring notice. So at that point in time, we just have to do our stop paperwork and let it go. So that's very important. We're continuing to work with property management companies about that. Likewise, as far as the retail theft, that's a big initiative as well. What we're seeing, at least in one major retailer, is now there's an appetite to bar individuals, not only from a specific location, a specific store, but from all stores in the company. Logistically, we're working on that because it entails a central repository for the barring notices, but hopefully it'll allow us to hold people accountable. We had a arrest 2 days ago of a retail theft, and it was a simple, single theft. However, because of the investigations that we've really started to focus on and prioritize, we were actually able to close 14 past thefts. And, that's the sort of thing that we really are hopeful will have an impact moving forward, because what we're doing is, instead of presenting an individual who stole $25 worth of groceries or whatever from, say, a CVS, we're being able to present to the prosecuting offices 14 a pattern of offenses. And even if each one is fairly small, when you put them together, it indicates that we're looking at something, if not, an involvement in organized retail theft, certainly, a really problematic repeat offender. And so hopefully by putting together those stronger cases, presenting them to prosecutors, the prosecution will be aided and we'll be able to make some progress on that front. The number is right now in our PSA and my PSA 203, which is largely 3F is there, 59% increase over 2023 in theft, which, as I said, that's pooled mostly across retail theft and package thefts. We're doing the best that we can. I'm really proud of what the officers are doing. We have, we're able to put together occasionally some resources to do overtime units, and we'll put them in certain places. We'll put foot beats in certain places, and they are really effective at deterring theft at those sites, but we don't have enough people to post someone on every site. That's a problem. So we have to move them around strategically. I know that we made a lot of progress at one site last month with the deterrent model, but we have to move them around. So this month we moved them around, and we had some sort of carryover deterrents. People, I guess, felt like they couldn't go back to that one location, but about halfway through the month this past week, I suppose they figured it out, because now those thefts at that location are back up. But again, then we adjusted that. We moved. We did a special mission operation there, and that's where we made the lockup, where we closed 14 cases. So, we're doing the best we can. It's, we're moving things around, we're adjusting, we're monitoring the crime as, daily, hourly. In many cases, we're in constant contact with loss prevention, asset protection from these major retailers. And, we're really optimistic that the approach will pay off as we move forward throughout the year. To date, our arrests in 203 are up 350%. Our theft arrests 350%. So we're making the apprehensions. We're moving the cases forward. The cases are stronger than they have been in the past, and that's where we're at. We're still working with the retailers to think of more creative solutions and figure things out. But that's what we're working on right now. Are there any questions about that or other matters?
Commissioner Slotnick.
I noticed that Commander Savoy is here, and I've been having ongoing discussions regarding my constituents who are complaining about the demonstrations at the Israeli embassy with the sirens and the what they call noise pollution. So I'm hoping maybe somebody might tell us where we are on that subject or what the rules are.
Sure, I could talk about that. Hi, everyone. Hey, Commissioner. So let me just kind of piggyback off of what Vandermeer, Lieutenant Vandermeer spoke about with these thefts and why we're seeing an increase. Keep in mind that when we conduct theft operations in these locations, we are discovering thefts that more likely go unreported when we're doing these theft operations. So when we're doing the operations, unfortunately, our theft numbers will go up because those are thefts that we're seeing and we're making arrests. Just tonight, we made 2 arrests. They did a theft operation, and I could talk about it now because it's over with. They did a theft operation up in the CVS, the 4300 block of Connecticut. They placed 2 individuals under arrest. One, they were able to charge theft felony because he has 2 prior convictions, and the other individual has already open, not, I wouldn't say open cases. He's been charged with the cases, but the cases there are multiple pending cases out of the 1st district as well. So just kind of keep in mind with that, like if you're seeing the numbers go up, it's really because we're doing these operations. Now, Commissioner, talking about the noise, you and I have been going back and forth about that. That's not really my wheelhouse to kind of discuss, which is why I included our Special Operations Division management. And if you don't hear anything back from them the next day or 2, Commissioner, please call me and let me know, because then I will pick up the phone and I will make a phone call. So they said that they were happy to discuss that with you. It is a gray area when it comes to, when people are, the protests and, the violations of their rights and stuff like that. So I understand the noise and the residents. Again, that does not fall under my wheelhouse. And someone from the Special Operations Division said that they will reach out to you. So if you don't hear back from them, just give me a call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner David?
Thank you, officers. I have a couple questions, but I do want to just follow up on the sirens, the noise. So I run by there on weekends, and the last 2 weekends I didn't hear the sirens anymore. So, so that is resolved. I can confirm that.
No,
I haven't heard them.
it's not resolved. No way.
I haven't. When I run by on the weekends, they stop the sirens. So
maybe those couple of times you've run by, but I can confirm that it's definitely not over.
So because they would do it on the weekend. So definitely on Saturdays and Sunday mornings they don't do the sirens.
It may have
CVS, I wanted to ask about CVS, and I noticed that CVS on 5013 Connecticut Avenue now has a police officer. And I guess that's an internal thing that they have now. So I'm wondering if what do you know about that, and if that's a sign that other CVS in the area will start doing that. And then my
What
other
do you
2
mean,
questions
a
are,
police officer? What do you?
yeah, they have like a
Security guard?
Yes, a security guard.
Oh, okay. So they don't tell us, we don't track where they put security guards. Keep in mind, we have 28 CVSs in the 2nd district alone.
That's good to know.
Why they specifically put one up there, I'm not sure. If I was a betting person, I would say that they've been hit recently with when the stocking deliveries come, they've been hit for that. We encourage to have them tell us when the truck is coming to do those, to do the restocking for the deliveries. So somebody could be over there. And then way up top, that's under Lieutenant Oliver. So
okay,
his priority right now is that CVS. It's not a lot going on up on that upper end. So of course he has more time to like really concentrate on that, because that's pretty much kind of what he's only dealing with right now. Whereas though Lieutenant Vandermeer, he has a target. He has 2 CVS's, right? He has the 7-Eleven. He has more retail than what Lieutenant Olivier has.
Okay, so I'll figure out how to check into that, because I know we were trying to see if there could be a security guard at CVS near Giant, but you know, so I'll try to see what's
Vandermeer, is
going on.
that something you could talk with Tiffany and them about?
Yes, ma'am. So, from speaking with Jonathan at CVS, the issue there is that, again, they, they're trying to make a profit. And if it were profitable for them, to have security, special police officers or security guards in every location, they would, but they have to pick and choose in the same way that we have to sometimes. And so they're trying to, my guess is, use them strategically and have them show up in places. And, if someone walks into a CVS and there's a armed security guard there one day, maybe they're thinking, oh, I can't come back to this one. And then, that way they can get more bang for their buck by spreading the security personnel that they do hire around from the different stores to keep people guessing. But it's definitely the case that they do not have the resources to expand. At least that's what we're told. They do not have it's not profitable for them to expand that security component of things. And so that's what we're told. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then my other two is, what is the barring paperwork that you said that apartment building?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So, sorry, we just came off of a different ANC meeting, and I'm really, sometimes I'm wary of repeating myself. And so I think I skipped some things there, and I appreciate the commander catching me on, especially our, the theft data there. But the barring notice, really, I think people lean on it a little bit as if now I have this barring notice and it's almost as though it's a warrant. This person has to go. Really, what the barring notice does is it compiles the things, the pieces of critical information that you would need to be able to lock someone up for trespassing. In DC code, the statute is called unlawful entry, but effectively it's what most people think of as trespassing. And that would be those pieces of information are, we've identified the individual, and someone who is lawfully in charge of a location has said to that person, you are not welcome here anymore. An officer has witnessed this and will testify to that. And the person, it's been explained to them that if they come back, they could be arrested for trespassing. And so the barring notice just basically gets all of that in the same place, so that if we make that arrest for unlawful entry, when we present it to prosecutors, they can see all that information, and the evidence is just really all there, and it's solid. Now, the reason it's so important to have those barring notices be squared away is because, it is just a piece of paper, and if something's illegible, or if you're just going by the word of the concierge, I know they were barred, we can't do that, because then that puts our officers in a really bad position to make unconstitutional arrests. So the barring notices are very important. Because what's happening is an officer responds to the location. They're being presented this piece of paper, and they need to know that all of this is solid evidence before they take someone's freedom away. So that's just it's something we're working on, because we want to make sure that we're doing things the right way, and of course being effective. So that's the barring notice situation.
Thank you. And then also, how does the locker system work? For
just an Amazon locker that's in front of the police station.
Oh, okay.
Amazon.
Okay.
Sorry to interject, but I think that's
it's Amazon.
Yeah, when you go to Amazon, if when you start to go into the delivery, the shipping information, I think it auto populates with like nearby lockers. I'm not sure if there's a drop down, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what it looks like on the interface.
No, it gives you the option. I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also have a specific name. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but each locker, each Amazon locker location has like a name. they give them a name. So if you put that in there as well, you'll know what it is. I can't think of what our name is. I will have to Google it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Terry, Commissioner Hewitt.
Hi, Madam Chair. Thank you. Good evening, Commander Savoy and Lieutenant Vandermeer. Lieutenant, thank you so much for your response this morning. I can talk to you offline. I just had a couple of questions where, actually, it's my building, 4501 Connecticut Avenue. I don't want any PII or anything like that, and you may not have the answer, but I've got a lot of tenants who are coming to me with concerns, and I have reached out to property management who are normally very, very forthcoming. I know that they've had to deal with some mental health issues here in the building, and I am scheduled to meet with the property manager Thursday to give her some advice. If you have any, bits of information, I would appreciate it. And again, I'll just follow up with you offline. And you may not, and that's okay, and I understand. Or you cannot, and I understand completely.
Sure, I'll reach out to you tomorrow and we'll talk offline.
Okay, thank you. I'll be traveling tomorrow, but you can you'll find me. I won't be.
Okay.
Any other questions from the community? Thank you so much to both of you for being here. It was really, really comprehensive and helpful, and we all appreciate so much what you're doing, and that you come here to in partnership with us. We're so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Shantice Wynn Brown from Councilmember Fruman's office. Hi.
Hi, good evening. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you for being here.
No problem. So we do have our work day in the ward coming up on Thursday, March the 28th at Compass Coffee in Spring Valley. So there we will have, we have coffee with the council member from 8 to 10 at every work day in the ward event. We also have MPD, the OAG office, and the MOCRS office coming between 10 and 11. We have DOCP and DOB coming 11 to 12. DPW, the sweep team, they're coming between 1 and 2, DDOT between 2 and 4, and then DPR between 3 and 4. Our team will be there the whole day, so from 8 to 5 we'll be there. The council member normally is there between 8 and 10. He probably stay a little longer, and then he normally comes again like in the afternoon. If anyone wants to talk to him about anything. The main updates that we have is that for the fiscal year 25 budget, we are currently waiting for the mayor to transmit her budget proposals, which we have not received yet. It was supposed to be tomorrow. The chairman reached out to us and let us know that that isn't happening and that it'll be a new date. So because we don't have her proposed budget, in turn, all of the budget hearings will probably be pushed back depending on when we actually get that budget, proposed budget from her. The council member, his budget priorities are pretty much still the same. Schools, housing, and public safety. And I think that's pretty much it. We encourage people to sign up for our newsletters and social media to get real-time responses and updates. And that is all.
Shantice, do you have an update on the Jackson Reed pool?
So I knew that was coming up. We honestly do not have a specific date. The only thing that we heard from DGS Director Hunter was that it should be open in the spring.
I think there's also an issue with the Jackson Reed Black Box Theater.
No, we are not aware of that. If you can send me an email, I can reach out to find out more information on that. Okay. But as far as, let me see. Yeah, we don't have anything on that.
Okay. I don't know enough of the details to ask, but I'll write you an email and follow up on it because I've heard about it from several people whose children are in drama. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thanks for being here. If you could put the information about the workday in the ward in the chat, just the broad details, if anyone wants to add it to their calendar, you can cut and paste it from the chat.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Matt Barclay or Theo, or either one of you. I think I saw Theo from the mayor's office. Nope. Theo was here. Okay. Moving on. UDC Juanita Gray, are you here? They're dropping like flies. Gloria Garcia, she's here. I know she's here, and your time has moved up.
Yay. Good evening, everyone. Gloria Garcia, Van Ness Main Street. My updates are really about the events that we're holding. Our board last year, going into this year, challenged us to bring more events that brought foot traffic into the businesses more than just once a year, like Art All Night. So we are doing second Saturdays. We had our first one. We're partnering with Carpe Librum. The next one is April 13th. And just follow us for more information, but we will have a pop-up market inside our offices with Carpe Librum outside. And then movie night will be coming this summer. We'll do one in June, one in July, and then one in September. Our second Saturday in September is really going to be our big one. So please mark your calendars for September 14th. And then the other work that we do is not as interesting, but necessary. We've been working with the nail salons with all of their DC Health new regulations that were put into effect during the pandemic. And then as well as business license renewal. The split with DLCP and DOB has caused a lot of backlog. So we're working diligently with that. I just got a list. I don't think Amir is here, but thank you. DLCP is really helping us help these businesses get back on track. We do have all of our new businesses opening. We're still slated for late spring, early summer on some of these. Whale Tea is coming next door to our office. I don't have an update on Moms, but we keep plugging along with Moms. And then Rosedale, we also heard, was in May, June, as well as Doghouse. So, exciting that we have some new businesses coming. But that's it for me, but I'll take questions. Oh, and our pollinator program that is celebrating its 5th year. We kick off on Saturday with Kathy Sykes leading the way with the spring plantings. So we need more volunteers. So please sign up. You can do so through directly to Kathy. And it's all over our social page. The other thing we've been working on that we, don't advertise that much, but because of all the graffiti that has appeared up and down Connecticut Avenue and on the playground, the clean team, we work closely with our clean team, which, are very under resourced, but Charlie did respond. So some of it has been removed. They're going to continue to work on it. I've also encouraged anyone to continue putting in 311s. I've got 311s in for several spots and including the playground. So I think that's all I have right now. We're just hoping for better weather so our restaurants can be outdoors.
Great, thank you. I've just put Kathy Sykes' email in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
So please volunteer. It's amazing. It makes such a huge difference on the corridor.
It does.
And it's fun.
It does. Yeah. And you know what? One other question that I always get, that when we do Carpe Librum, you can bring donations for that nonprofit. Books, CDs, DVDs. Yes. Unfortunately, the weather did not it wasn't good for them last time. So we've rescheduled them for March 23rd. So this Saturday coming up, they will be out in front, weather permitting. But every time they set up, you can bring donations, which really helps them.
It's amazing. They have such good, they have like all the contemporary fiction and
yeah. It's a really cool, it's a very great model to raise money for another good cause. So, and then also the farmers market will be opening, I believe it's April 24th. So that's exciting. Hopefully that'll bring more foot traffic. Yay, spring.
Best. Commissioner
Yeah.
David.
Hey Gloria, quick question. Have you got any information? Have you got any information on Mr. Greens?
No, we do not. We just know that we started back channeling, and we know that they have no license. And because there is emergency legislation that was passed in January by, and spearheaded by, Council Member Allen, that they are in violation. These businesses are going to be regulated. And so the sign has come down. And that's all we know for now. I don't know if Courtney's been involved as well, so if she wants to add to it.
Yeah,
But
I'm actually trying to find, I can't think and move my mouse at the same time. I did talk to ABCA about these businesses, because we also have Canna Art, which is, I know, he will want, a license. He said he's going to search out a license. I'm sorry, apply for a license. ABCA advised that if you see a business like this, that you can make it a complaint through their website. I am going to put that, I have that link in my notes here to put into the chat if you'd like to complain, or make a statement to them about a business that you think is operating outside of the rules of the alcohol and cannabis licenses. We did look through all of the businesses that did apply for a license, and neither of those businesses that appear to be opening in our neighborhood have applied for a license. So this is their, at the moment, at least outside of the regulated cannabis program.
right. And the other thing to note that sign, Mr. Green, that everybody saw and sent pictures, that was in direct violation of the new legislation. For any business, even if they'd had a license, they really can't put signs up like that have the marijuana leaf and add gift to the word. I mean, it was pretty blatant. So, yeah, so one good thing is that there is emergency legislation that we were able to dig up. And I want to shout out to Marlene Berlin, my outgoing Van Ness Main Street president, because she dug it up. And two, that we pretty much have a very good responsive landlord of that building. So, we didn't have to really do much right now, Courtney, to get the sign to come down. So,
well, I will say not doing much was a lot of people in this neighborhood doing a bunch of things, including your board, and a lot of members of the community jumped in to try and figure out what the regulations were, and what the rules were, and if they were being followed, and they weren't. And now the sign is gone, and that didn't happen by itself. So thank you for your leadership there too.
yeah, no, I just meant, it could have gone on for weeks, but yes,
a
it
lot of
was a
great
good
people
showing
jumping in.
Yeah, it was a lot of good teamwork to get it resolved to this point. So, but thank you for the neighborhood. So even Popville got involved. So he sent it to, to me too. So it does take a village to figure out what's happening at all times.
That might have been the most photographed sign in the neighborhood this week because I got a lot of emails, pictures of that sign.
I know. Well, now it's the new sign, I think, which is even funnier, but I don't think it's in any violation. But if anybody wants to get a good laugh, go look at the sign that's up now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks a lot, Gloria.
Oh, thank you all for all you do.
Okay, so moving on, Terry, do you want to come back to, we had amended this, so how would you like to handle, I know Dave Landsman's here, how would you like to handle this item?
So we've amended it and removed it.
Oh, do you want to remove it altogether? I didn't know if you wanted to remove it or just to agree not to vote on it. I know that a previous ANC voted and approved this.
Right, and we're going to move forward to leave that vote in place. There is a vote is not necessary, and then that's it. Full stop.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to commission business and the treasurer's report. Commissioner Bear.
Okay, unfortunately, tonight's report is going to be a little lengthy. There was a ANC tutorial seminar for treasurers and earlier in, I guess it was February when it happened. And the ANC office is changing how the treasurer has to do their business pretty substantially. We've seen it in some ways where last year we had to have 2 signatures on every single check that was going out, and Claudette and I always met either in her lobby area or just outside my building to have those checks signed. And I want to thank Claudette greatly for cooperating. It seems that actually now we need a 3rd signature on the checking account. And the reason is that I can't sign a check that's going to me for reimbursement for my expenses. So I need a 3rd person to be on that signature. I will take volunteers tonight if someone wants to do it. If not, then I'll start twisting arms over the next week or 2. I also need to make a monthly presentation to the commission on what checks we've written in the prior month. And that one is kind of lengthy for this month, since February's meeting, I had to write a check for the security fund. And so we're vested in that. I've paid for the mailbox that's at the UPS store just up a block from us. I've paid our administrative assistant, Rachel, for her time. I've also had a couple of interesting things happen over the last month. We got a bill from the DC Employment Service Office. Turns out that our PFL, the family leave taxes that we're supposed to pay every quarter for the for our expenses for the administrative position, weren't paid in 2019 and 2020 for 3 quarters, or 4 quarters actually. And as a consequence, we got a note from them saying that we owed them close to $500, of which $400 were for $100 for each quarter that we were delinquent in paying those back taxes. What I've done is I've paid the back taxes with interest, which amounts to $83.63, but I'm appealing the $400 penalty that was incurred to us. Unfortunately, this is the 2nd time that we've gotten a surprise. Last year, we got a surprise of almost $1,200 because of taxes that weren't paid. And that was one of the reasons why the ANC office has decided to do things a little bit differently going forward with the treasurer's position. So also this month, I need to have the approval of the Zoom expenditures that we have every month. They're under $20, but I need to come forward every month and at least tell you that I've had that debit expenditure and have you guys approve it, but it should be pro forma for that to happen because we needed to be able to have these calls. So I'll just ask for people to indicate that I can continue to pay the Zoom expenditure on a monthly basis, but I'll come to you every month and ask that same thing. If anyone objects to that, please do so now, because
Then we have a really big problem, you guys.
yeah, then we'd have a really big
And we'll
problem.
have to turn off the Zoom immediately.
Right. Okay, so there's another thing that we now have that we can do, and I really would like to put in place because there are some expenses that are too small or infrequent to have someone come and me write a check for $5.37 or whatever. We're allowed to have a petty cash um, account or a petty cash holding that is the responsibility of the treasurer and the chair. It can be no more than $200, and any reimbursement from it has to be justified with receipts or an explanation of what the expenses are for, and that they can only be upwards of $50. If it gets any larger than that, it needs to have a check written for it. The expenses and the accounting for it can be just, we don't necessarily need a receipt for when you guys go on the metro and on official business. And you guys should know that, in fact, any transportation that you do or any costs that you incur by being a commissioner on official duty can be reimbursed. And I don't need receipts for all the little, $1.20 or $2.40 when you go on a metro. We just need to have that written out. So I'm going to clarify with the ANC office just how to set this petty cash up, and then probably bring it to your attention next month. Let's see. I've already said that we need a third signatory on the checking account so I can get reimbursed for stuff. We had another situation that happened over the last month or so. The Department of Employment Services returned a check that I had written for unemployment insurance for the fourth quarter of 2023. Wasn't a very big one, but they returned it to me, and I need to find out why they did that. They seem to indicate that the account was closed, but we keep paying every quarter for it, and I need to clarify that. And let's see what else. Next month, we will have a QFR that will be put in place for the second quarter of 2024, which is January, February, and March of this year. So that'll be pretty important. So I'll take any question. Oh, what I need to be doing actually is giving you an oral report, but I also need to give you a written report. So I didn't do that this month, but starting in April, you guys will have a written report like I've just given it, the oral one here tonight, before the meeting, so that you can look at it beforehand. And, if you have any questions for me now or, in the future, you'll be able to see something before the meeting. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions people might have of anything that I've been doing.
Mitch, I think one of the things we talked about, and I think we talked about this at our executive meeting, because I asked James to do it as he was leaving his position early. And I wonder if this would be helpful as sort of this playbook of what each of us does, both the issues that are coming up in our SMDs, as well as what you do in your position as treasurer, the position as chair, the position as secretary. Do you think that would have, is that the kind of thing that would help keep some of these things from happening, because there's sort of a list of don't forget to pay this bill and this bill?
Some of it will be handled that way. It was a kind of a surprise to me that we had to pay for the mailbox every year. And so when I got the bill, really it hadn't been budgeted for this year, but we have to pay it, obviously. Yeah, for the treasurer, it would be really helpful to have that, and I will do that, at some point in the near future.
I don't mean to give you more things to do, but I think I mean, I just found I started doing it for my own SMD as well. It's a helpful exercise.
Yeah, yeah. And with the further accounting that the ANC office is putting in place for the treasurer, it'd probably be easier for the next person after me to be able to see what's going on. We certainly won't have the problems of getting any surprises because the accounting just wasn't done properly, and we had some of these back taxes that we owed that were surprises to all of us. And I don't know what the problem was back in 2019, 2020, but none of us were on the board at that time, so, or on the commission at that time. So I agree with you in short that it would be helpful for me to account for what I've been doing and help the next treasurer out.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Okay, do I have anyone to volunteer to be the third signatory? Marilyn, thank you very much. I'll get with you, and one day we need to go up to TD Bank up on Wisconsin Avenue and just sign some paperwork. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks. All right, any further business? Seeing none, I move to adjourn. Oh.
Oh, I'm voting to adjourn.
Okay, good. We're out. We're out.
you.
I thank you very much, everybody. The next meeting will be Tuesday, April 23rd, which is a little bit different from our regular cadence because of DCPS spring break. So Tuesday, April 23rd at 7 p.m. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.